right, people. Oh my god. It's Anime Death Spiral again? That's right.
Oh shit, again?
It's Anime Death Spiral, the only anime podcast personally endorsed by two-time World Series champion Jose Canseco. He's a weird guy, but you know what? We cannot turn down fans at this point. I cannot afford to do that. We'll take whoever we could get.
Oh, we've sunk to that.
Yeah, that's
point.
right.
All right. Okay, I can get on board with this. All right, let me realign a little bit.
In the spirit of that, we're desperately doing everything to reorient our show to some valuable content. We have been pursuing something we have been talking about, live action anime adaptation haul. We have been chipping away. I know I watched one. I know you watched one. You watched two, in fact.
I watched 3 if we want to get into it, but
Holy shit.
But I feel like one of them is better saved for a more in-depth look than if you're a dedicated listener of this podcast, you know what I'm talking about.
Jose.
No need to expound on that.
So you watched Tomie and Full Metal Alchemist. I watched Full Metal Alchemist. And actually a couple minutes of the Mob Psycho live action before I realized I actually have seen it before, but it was so bad. I mentally wiped myself, Men in Black style, to forget that happened.
I heard that is that is a similar story for many people who watched it.
Yeah.
What I was alluding to before is I did, for the sake of timeliness, I did watch the One Piece live action premiere, but we're going to hold off on that for a little bit, work up to it with some of these other live action stuff that we've dipped our toes in.
Yeah, leave it well enough alone.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
But I did watch it, and boy, do I have feelings.
Yeah, I bet you do.
But to start off, tell me what you thought of the Full Metal Alchemist live-action movie. Number 1, because there's actually 3 of them.
There are actually 3 of them. Not that anybody involved in the first one knew about. They were blissfully unaware that they were going to end up with a trilogy, obviously. Man, you know, I have in the past, watched some of these. Like I said, I watched the Rurouni Kenshin ones, and I believe last episode I did mention the Unholy Trinity, did I not?
You did, yeah.
Let's see, bad hair, bad costumes, bad CGI.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? This movie has some surprising developments when it comes to the Unholy Trinity. Obviously, bad hair. Bad hair is all over this. 90% of the cast is in wigs for some reason. Not all the characters even need wigs.
You say for some reason, but 90% of anime hair cannot exist in a natural state. Like, that has to be taken as a given, right?
Of course. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about characters who just have, like, regular hair. They've just thrown a wig on these people as well. Obviously, Eduardo, it has to have a wig.
Eduardo T. Alchemist.
Yes, Eduardo T. Alchemist has stupid hair. He needs to have a wig on. And in fact, if my eyes did not deceive me, he had at least 3 different wigs for different shots. There was a wig for shooting him from the back of the head. There was a wig for shooting him during the action scenes. And there was a wig for shooting him straight on.
I mean, that kind of makes sense to me, you know.
Of course.
You said, he has weirdo hair. He's got kind of like he has a braided ponytail with kind of like the dual, like Aerith hair tufts that hang down.
What are those? What are those? Can we gotta call them.
I don't know. I don't know what they're called. I've just been calling them Aerith curves.
Ear fringe.
Yeah, ear fringe.
In your ear fringe. With loose bangs.
Yes, you know what it is? That is that scene from There's Something About Mary, where Cameron Diaz puts jizz in her hair. It's that thing.
God damn it. Okay, yeah, I guess. Boy, it's been a while since I watched that movie.
Yeah, I think that Ben Stiller would rather have everybody forget about There's Something About Mary.
You know, at the time, we really thought it was going to be like a lasting cultural comedy. A lot of people thought that.
Hey, remember when she put the semen in her hair?
The cum in her hair thing. I don't know why, but people really thought that was like the funniest thing they'd ever seen.
Funniest shit I've ever seen, bro.
Yeah, you know, there is a whole conversation to have about like the sediments of weird American comedies, because like I really feel like, you know, Napoleon Dynamite was a huge American comedy turning point, and no one's going back for that one. No one.
I've genuinely been thinking about giving that a rewatch.
Really?
Recently. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Why?
Specifically because it was such a weird, like, cultural wave, right? It was the first, like, alt comedy that pierced the mainstream membrane, and it was like everybody was on a love it or hate it side. It was extremely divisive.
It is bizarre.
If you remember.
Yes, I do remember. I remember because like people would watch it in computer class.
Well, I think Napoleon Dynamite specifically appealed to a lot of weird insular kids from our generation that felt sane by a weird comedy for the first time, right?
I guess. It's not like that was the first weird comedy movie, though.
Yeah, but it was the first meme one, you know.
It was definitely one of the first meme comedies in our American landscape, for sure. I think I would agree with that.
I think you have to view it through that lens to understand why it had such mass appeal with our age range.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, non-cartoon meme movie, I think. Because we were well past, like, Beavis and Butthead Take America, right?
I mean, I do love that movie a lot.
Yeah, and that was pretty memey. I mean, people were doing the fucking cornholio thing, like, every day of my life as a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, one of my earliest memories is my mom saying that I wasn't allowed to watch the Beavis and Butthead Christmas special.
That's where she drew the line.
Yeah.
Anyway, we watched Full Metal Alchemist, the live-action movie.
Yeah.
The movie full of wigs. Now, here's where it got a little divisive to me. Not all the costumes were bad.
Really?
I have to say, I thought some of the costumes were, like, okay. They were all right. Obviously, the Gestapo costumes were very costumey. I hated all of those. They really looked like off-the-rack cosplay shit.
Okay, now I'm going to be totally upfront with you. I didn't watch this recently. I had seen the Full Metal Alchemist movie already from several years before.
Wow.
Yeah.
Liar.
I know. Coming clean
me.
here. In the spirit of camaraderie, of honesty, I want to be totally open here. I have seen it, just not for several years.
Yeah, but everybody knows that your brain has dissolved.
It's true. I do have the memory of Swiss cheese.
You are barely functioning.
I have smoked away my higher motor functions.
Yeah. Every scene of Memento, you had to be reminded what the previous scene was.
But I do remember that I was thoroughly unimpressed with the costumes, so please explain to me which ones you thought looked good.
I'm not saying they were super impressive, okay? I'm just saying I was pleasantly surprised about how not garbage some of them were.
Such as?
I thought Ed's stupid little costume thing, like, for the most part, the gloves were terrible. I think shooting people in gloves is difficult in general, so I'm not, I don't want to sound like too much of a hater there. I think gloves are difficult to shoot.
Well, okay, so gloves in animation are basically just an extension of the character's skin, right?
Yeah, they're just Mickey Mouse shit.
Always portrayed as skin tight.
They are.
Or if they are cartoonish style gloves, then they are basically treated as their hand being that shape, like Mickey Mouse.
Sometimes when they drop like a big chunk of the budget on a scene, you'll see somebody take the gloves off.
Well, yeah,
and that's fully articulated. especially with their mouth. You usually take gloves off with your teeth.
Sure.
In the anime context.
I mean, often your other hand has been blown off for some reason or not.
Yeah, usually. And you need to cast your, like, magic seal or whatever.
Yeah.
But the scenes where we got close-ups of his glove were a little embarrassing, but I think they did a good job with the coat. I think one of the funny things is
actually, can I just interject real quick? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You just made me realize that in Hellsing, when he takes off his magical gloves that keep his power dampened, he's literally taking the kid gloves off.
Yes. Nobody said anything in Hellsing is subtle. Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
But it is unfortunate we have a lot of close-ups of Ed's hands. He spends a lot of time looking at that stupid watch he carries around, which is placed
and, like, his thing is that he does alchemy with his hands. That's, like, why he's famous.
Yes, but they don't like to zoom in on the hands when he's doing it because, like, a lot of stuff is happening in the scene, and they really want the focus to be on the CGI. And you cannot zoom in on the CGI or everything will fall apart.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But,
we both just watched Cobweb, so we know how true that is.
Hey, they did a really good job not shooting most of the CGI in that movie, keeping it off screen. But, I think the coat was okay. It looked pretty good. The actor did a good job of keeping the coat, swishy. Which you want, obviously, from any coat. And one thing I really respect is them truly downplaying the stupid sigil. That ridiculous sigil they all have. I don't even know how to describe it.
The Kabbalah graffiti.
Yeah, that he has prominently displayed on the back of his trench coat, his red trench coat. They really downplay that, which I appreciate because it looks stupid. In live action, it looks very dumb.
I mean, it was recently pointed out to me online how much anime magic systems, not just from Fullmetal Alchemist, but in general, like full on are just like fantasy, like literal interpretations of Kabbalah mysticism.
Yes, I know. There's this. They refuse to acknowledge that they're coming from, like, Jewish mysticism. But they will just full-on borrow symbology straight out of the text. But you know what? I give them the benefit of the doubt. I doubt they even know where it comes from. I bet they just saw it somewhere. Okay, that brings us to the third prong, the CGI. Uh-huh. Now here, again, this is, a real mixed bag because I thought Alfonso looks pretty good in a lot of the scenes. He doesn't do very much, but you know what? Like, there's a scene where he's out in the rain, and that's very brave of the director to put that scene in there, because they're doing serious rendering on the rain hitting the armor. And we're getting, like, full-on face shots, and we're seeing the rain.
Well, I mean, but if anything, the rain hitting the armor can only serve to mask the subpar CGI rendering of his model itself, right?
I mean, yeah, you cover up a little bit of the lighting issues, but I'm saying, like, for the most part, I think he looked pretty naturalistic. I think they did a fair job.
Yeah, for the most part, but there's more than one scene in that movie where you get full-on, like, unadulterated shots of what his 3D model looks like, and it's not great once you you do have to stop and pause. I'm not going to lie. This is a bit of a nitpick, but, like, it's not top-tier stuff, right?
It was, like I said, it's a mixed bag. I think there are scenes where he looks a little uncanny valley, but there are also scenes where I think they're pulling it off. I will say, if you're unfamiliar, there is a full-on man-faced dog that shows up, and it straight up looks like Scooby-Doo from the Scooby-Doo movie, which is not good. It does not look good.
Well, that brings up a point that I wanted to make, and that is the amount of story that this movie tries to cover.
Yeah. It's 2.5 hours long.
Yes. It is hefty. And even then, it feels so incredibly truncated and rushed with the amount, if you're familiar with the story, right, with the amount of stuff that they try to cover. They essentially cover the first quarter of a 100+ chapter manga into a 2.5-hour movie. From my memory, they cover everything from the introduction of the Elric brothers in Lenore, hunting down the cult leader. Right?
That's the first scene, yes.
Yeah, all the way up to the assault on Secret Laboratory 5 with, like, the zombie homunculi Cyclops dudes.
Yes, that is the first climax of the movie.
Yeah, which I should mention is, like, I don't know, 45 chapters of the manga.
It's a lot, and the way that the movie handles it is hilarious because, like my compatriots who watched it with me pointed out in the last 10 minutes, this movie could be exactly the same. You could do every single story beat that is part of the main story of the movie, without Ed or Al ever showing up. They play literally no important part to anything that happens in the story.
That was a huge thing, is in the truncated version of the movie story, Ed basically has no agency. He is led around from plot point to plot point by another character at every turn of the story.
He gets damseled. Two times.
Whereas obviously in the manga and anime, he has much more time to kind of work things out for himself. You know, if I remember correctly, so the dog-faced homunculi, the whole Show Tucker arc where the Elrics meet a government alchemist who's trying to make an intelligent chimera, right? Which is like an animal that's been, or several animals that have been fused together by alchemy.
A man-faced dog. Yes,
a Scooby-Doo, if you will.
A Scooby-Doo, but more man-faced. I have to point out, like, the man-faced dog, I don't know if it qualifies as a yokai, but that is like a thing. I'm pretty sure what's her name was riffing on the man-faced dog.
Probably.
Just a little quibble, and it looks fucking hilarious.
What's her face? Hiromu Arakawa is her name.
I'm sorry, Hiromu, you deserve respect. Manga is much better than this movie.
So anyway, the Show Tucker arc, where the Elric brothers, as preparation for studying for their state alchemy exam,
they have to pass. They have to pass their baccalaureate.
Yes, they have to present their thesis paper to get their fascist state pocket watch.
Yes, and they're the youngest to ever do it because they are at any point somewhere between 12 years old and 19. Story can't decide whether they are 12 or 19.
Well, so in the manga, I think it's stated several times that at the beginning of the story, Ed is 15 and Al is 14.
Yeah, they don't look like 15-year-olds.
That's a different thing that we can talk about with live action adaptations in general.
Yeah.
But specifically, I think what is emblematic of what I'm trying to get at is the Show Tucker art, where in the manga, they're studying for the state alchemy exam. They stay with this world famous alchemist to study with him and prepare for the exam.
Yeah.
In the manga, they stay with him for several months. It takes up like 8 or 9 chapters. Where they become very close with both him and his daughter. They kind of bond during the process of them kind of studying and also researching how to get their bodies back.
Uh-huh.
And in the original anime, that whole arc took up 2 episodes. I think it covered in like 45 minutes. And then in the Brotherhood remake, they truncated it down to 1 25-minute episode. And now in the movie, they have truncated yet again that entire segment of the story down to like 15 or 20 minutes in this movie.
Eddie gets to have one flashback.
Yeah.
Al gets to actually have a sort of a participatory scene where he is his CGI avatar is shown to be playing with the little daughter. and we get 2 conversations with my man's, the scientist, and then we get a scene where he's almost beaten to death. And that's pretty. And then he randomly shows up at the end.
Okay, so we're talking like 10 to 12 minutes of screen time total for the character of Show Tucker.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty a good summation of why I felt that this movie was both too long and rushed to all hell.
Well, before we get into the needless minutia of this movie, it brings me to not a fourth prong of this trident, but a big aspect of these movies, which is the folly of ambition, shall we say? Because
hubris, I believe the word you're looking for is hubris.
Yes, the man's hubris. Pride goeth before the fall. And this movie's so prideful, it thinks it can cover essentially a third to a fourth of the entire story of Full Metal Alchemist in a single bound. Whereas, as I explained while we were watching it in my very annoying way where I talk through a movie, especially a bad one, an entire movie, a 90-minute movie, and I swear to God I will continue. I will say it every episode if I have to, but movies need to be 90 minutes.
Absolutely.
A 90-minute movie, a very solid 90-minute movie could have been made from Eddie and Alpho tracking down the cult leader priest in the beginning of the movie. You could have had a solid-ass movie just from that. I don't even want to call it an arc. Just that set of chapters, shall we say.
Okay, so what your problem there comes from, what it stems from, is this slavish devotion to trying to hit as many recognizable story beats from the manga or anime as possible, especially in the first one, because they didn't know they were gonna get sequels.
Obviously,
although that really should have been obvious, because the budget was basically zero, as far as I can tell from the CGI quality.
There was a fair amount of budget. I mean, they were shooting a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts there, a lot of actors, a lot of sets, a lot of CGI.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we're making the Full Metal Alchemist movie. People want to see Full Metal Alchemist, but in live action. So let's just give them that. We'll try and recreate as many recognizable scenes as possible into as tight of a manageable theater release format as we can.
Yes, they
which still ended up being 2.5 hours.
They chose the sprint. Yes, I understand that. And from a production standpoint, I get it. I get why you would want to do that. It's always wrong. It's wrong. It's literally the objectively wrong choice every single time.
Okay, but imagine the movie we could have had if the filmmakers and the producers took the attitude that they're trying to adapt something into the format of film rather than trying to put a manga on screen, right? We've talked about how it is objectively wrong to not try and adapt a work to a new format in some way. The Shining is our go-to example.
Yeah, well, I do talk about The Shining quite a lot in terms of adaptations, which is unfair because obviously Kubrick is, I don't know, the best to ever do it.
Okay, fair. I don't want to. I want to give people some grace here. Kubrick is a titanic, monumental name to go up against, but still, he had the attitude right. You are making a movie. You're not trying to put something from the page onto screen. That's how I think that you should approach these things, which is not how they did it here.
No. They went play the hits and they let the record spin to the detriment of the movie, the actors, the director, and the audience. Everybody involved was pretty much disrespected by every point of this movie. It sucked shit.
And
I
do respect, there were several instances in the movie where they really tried to go for the practical effect route, and I don't know, that's probably because of budget constraints, but it may be because someone in the creative crew had like a wild hair up their ass. But the image of Gluttony waddling around awkwardly with like fake styrofoam, like giant teeth poking out. It was like watching outtakes from a Barney episode.
Oh my god. It's only like 1.5 seconds in the entire movie, but the Gluttony waddling after the running soldiers right at the end of the movie.
That's exactly the thing. What I'm thinking of.
Yes.
In my mind, when I saw that, the Curb Your Enthusiasm music was playing.
That was by far the best piece of the movie. It's so good. It's so good. It really makes you think, like, what if? You know? What if?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a bad one. That's a real bad one.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about Tomie?
Oh, boy. Oh, man. I love some Junji Ito.
I love some Junji Ito. Who doesn't love Junji Ito? He's beloved.
Classic.
Beloved worldwide. What a goofy guy that is.
I mean, you say that, but the meme online, the joke is like people always comparing Ito to Hayao Miyazaki. Ito's such an upbeat, friendly guy, and everyone loves him, and he makes the most fucked up shit. Well, Miyazaki's a cranky old bastard, and he makes, like, wonderful fantasy movies. You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I really don't understand what the amusing part of that is, because, like, horror people have always been like that, in my experience. Not that there's not shitty horror people, but they are the people who are working out their frustrations through their art, whereas somebody who is so incredibly sincere when they are putting out stuff like Hayao Miyazaki, like, has to be Hayao Miyazaki in real life, because otherwise the other side doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. You cannot be that earnest in your artwork and not be that cynical in real life. You have to do it that way, or you are crushed under the weight of the world.
I watched a Tomie movie. I set out to watch the original Tomie adaptation from 1998.
You climbed the mountain,
yeah,
and you looked for the hermit in the secret cave.
But he wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
No, so I had to settle with the budget version of the hermit at the bottom of the mountain. Some weirdo dude.
And which one did he give you?
He gave me Tomie Unlimited from 2011.
And this is the most recent live-action Tomie.
I don't think that's true. I don't actually think that's true. There are 9 Tomie movies, both from theater and television release.
Hoo boy.
And I don't think the 2011 one... Well, actually, you know what? I just looked it up, and it may be. It is. It is actually the most recent one. I'll take that back.
Damn, this motherfucker fact-checking in real time.
I know. Well, better to apologize now than later.
Yes, I wonder why after Tomie Unlimited they stopped making these live-action adaptations. Could it be something to do with Tomie Unlimited itself?
So I set out to watch the original one. Turns out that is incredibly hard to find. Couldn't track it down anywhere online, which is kind of like a weird feeling in this day and age. It's not something that I run into often anymore, is like just being totally unable to view a particular piece of media.
Wow, bragging.
Well, I don't think it's bragging. I think it's just like kind of one of those quirks. Lost media used to be a way bigger thing until digitization became like a hobby for people, right?
Well, yeah, until people decided to pirate everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I could not find this first Tomie movie anywhere, so I settled on watching the only one that I could rent off Amazon, which was 2011's Tomie Unlimited.
Oh no, he paid for it. Oh no.
I paid 3 whole American dollars for this.
Damn, dude. And was it worth it?
No.
Oh no.
So this one is notable for being directed by Noboru Iguchi, who up to this point was mostly known as a adult film Sentai parody director. Let's see here. He has such amazing titles under his name as A Larva to Love. Oh shit! He directed Cat Eye Boy. You've been telling me to watch that.
Yes. He directed Cat. He also, I would say, like Machine Girl was probably his most famous movie. He also did
Machine Girl, Mutant Girl Squad.
He did a segment on ABCs of Death. He's also notable for looking almost exactly like Patton Oswalt, a young Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, he does look like a Japanese Patton Oswalt. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe I should rewatch this movie through that lens.
Yeah, you know what's weird is he also did the Flowers of Evil movie, which is he is maybe the most unsuitable person to tackling that particular subject matter. That is by podcast favorite Oshimi Shizu, who we've talked about extensively when I was talking about Okairi Alice. A dude who spends a lot of time talking and thinking and wrestling with gender relations and gender concepts themselves in relation to himself and in his work, and handing that off to this dude who I'm not going to say brags, but talks about kidnapping female actors in his movies and forcing them to do nude scenes on set. I don't know. That just seems like a weird mix. I don't know.
I will say that the lady that played Tomie in this movie retired from acting after it released.
Immediately after.
Immediately after her Wikipedia or IMDb page says that she got married.
I cannot stress how much Perfect Blue is a documentary.
Oh, yeah.
Cannot stress that enough.
I mean, Satoshi Kon was one of the real ones.
Satoshi Kon, seriously a real one. They killed him for it.
Okay, well, let's not veer into conspiracy theory.
They took his ass out, just like Kubrick.
Oh, this goes so deep.
It is. He really was the Kubrick of anime.
Yeah, I can get behind that statement. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
So Tomie Unlimited, directed by a perv, is the story of Tsukiko Izumikawa and her sister Tomie, who it's basically an amalgamation of the Tomie series in manga up to that point. Tomie is kind of like this ambiguous evil spirit, succubus almost, where she kind of is just this entity that kind of infiltrates and permeates people's lives to the point where they get obsessed and eventually become murderous over her attention, over her body, over her love, right?
Yeah, I've always thought of her as sort of a siren.
Yeah, a siren, basically. Yeah. And she kind of inserts herself into these people's lives in such a way that she is part of their own story already, right? So our main character is a Japanese high school girl named Tsukiko. And Tomie starts off the film as her sister, explicitly related. They grew up together.
Yeah.
And the first scene in the movie is Tomie getting impaled by a piece of rebar that fell off of a nearby construction site.
Not uncommon thing in anime and manga.
Yeah.
Seems to happen a lot. We need to get some fucking OSHA standard stat.
I know. The danger of urban development cannot be overstated.
Wow, I wonder if that's an unspoken theme.
I don't know what metaphor means. And so, the movie starts off with the conflict being Skiko and her parents, like, kind of not being able to come to terms with Tomie's death.
Yeah.
But then maybe a quarter into the film's runtime, a new transfer student is transferred into Skiko's class, and it is a girl named Tomie with a different last name from her, but looking identical and acting identical to her dead sister.
What?
Yeah. And that is kind of like, that's lifted directly from the original manga. This is like, the whole story of this movie is kind of like a pastiche of the themes of Tomie, without being a direct adaptation of the original story.
Sure. Which we had just said was kind of the correct approach to adaptations, right?
Yeah. I'm not faulting it for that. I think it did a kind of a cool approach in that regards.
The beginning and the end of its successful attempts.
Yeah. Where it really falls flat is, I'm just going to say the acting. It's not filled with good actors.
Oh, no.
But really the perviness of the director seeps into several scenes. Mm-hmm. I can't deny that there is a film of exploitation over every cell in this movie.
Yeah.
The way certain things are shot, the way certain angles are framed, with the female characters, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Absolutely. Even the scene at the beginning of the movie where Tomie gets impaled by a falling piece of metal, it's kind of framed as right before the title card drops, and Tsukiko drops her camera that she was holding, and the action of the camera hitting the pavement causes it to involuntarily snap a photo of Tomie's final moment.
Yeah.
And the way that is framed is just like a couple degrees off from being an upskirt shot.
Right, and she's being...
she has this giant, like, piece of metal sticking out that's impaling her from neck to torso.
Yes, impossible to ignore that she is being penetrated.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Now, have you seen Sucker Punch?
I have not seen Sucker Punch,
okay,
but I know exactly where you're going with this. And yes, this guy is the Japanese Zack Snyder.
I can't wait for his DC supercut.
Yeah. But scenes like there's a scene where the main character is horrified to open up her bento box at lunch and find that her bento is filled with several tiny Tomie heads that are all laughing at her.
Right.
And so she throws her bento in the school dumpster, and then later her friend goes to investigate a mysterious sound at the dumpster, finds the bento, opens it up, and what can only be described as a hentai tentacle spurts out of the bento box and penetrates her friend's mouth and chokes her to death with its phallic tentacle imagery.
What? This chick fishes out food from the dumpster?
Well, no, she is walking by the dumpster, hears a mysterious sound, notices a rustling, goes to investigate, and then after digging through the trash to find out what the source of the sound is, finds the bento box and opens it.
Yeah, isn't that what I said? She digs through trash? Look, we have all walked past dumpsters making mysterious sounds. Have any of you ever stopped and dug through the trash? You are supposed to keep walking.
I did once, but I had to get a rabies shot after.
Yeah, I bet, because whatever was in there bit you a couple times. You are, I feel like they teach us this in elementary school. You do not open the dumpster. You do not respond to the sounds.
Yeah, listen, if it's in the trash, someone put it there for a reason.
Or it lives there, and you're not supposed to bother it.
Yeah.
That's its space now.
Stuff like this just kind of permeates the film. Just phallic imagery, specifically genital violence is like a major theme throughout the back half. Which, again, I'm not going to say isn't relevant to adapting a Tomie story.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's thematically relevant, and would probably be used to better effect by someone who didn't spend a lot of his career literally directing pornography.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's basically what I'm trying to say, is that this movie had a lot of good ideas that were just shot like a porno.
Yeah.
That was Tomie Unlimited. Should I rank it? Should I give it some stars, or like what?
What is the scale we're working on? Okay, well, how about this? Tell me about the bad hair, the bad costumes, the bad CGI.
Well, that's okay. Bad CGI. I can't fault them on overall, because this goes hand in hand with shooting it like a porno, but they relied on some real wet puppets and practical effects.
Hard to hate
the
that.
Point they couldn't anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I pro wet puppetry. I have to say,
I'm very pro wet puppetry.
Yeah.
Again, in this case, the wet puppetry was used to a phallic degree in the murder of an underage girl. I don't know if that would have been better done as CGI.
Who knows?
Yeah. But I do give them kudos for their commitment to practical effects where they could. It did fall apart in the final scenes where they kind of have these giant centipede monsters made out of conjoined segments shaped like Tomie's head.
Yeah.
And in those segments, they are real bad CGI, with some real bad CGI blood spurts as they go straight for several people's crotches.
Great.
Yeah.
Good shit.
That was the aforementioned genital violence I was talking about.
Sure. Well, it's in the comparison between these two movies we've talked about, I have to say, I don't want to say it's an advantage, but obviously horror movies, right? They have more leeway when it comes to playing around with this stuff. Maybe because of the built-in expectations, but also because I think making something horrifying. The built-in
I think that it's actually the lack of expectations that people have with horror movies.
You have an expectation going in that like you are going to have bad CGI, that you are going to have sometimes kind of goofy looking practical effects. Like that's part of the experience of a horror movie.
It gives you more permission to yourself to suspend reality.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. Did you watch Psycho Goreman?
I haven't yet.
Oh, you have got to watch that because it is a masterclass in exactly what we are talking about right now.
Okay. I have it on DVD. I picked it up at a used books not too long ago.
It's great. The virtuoso use of wet puppets in Psycho Goreman alone is worth it. I think compared to something like a 2.5 hour fantasy quote unquote epic like Full Metal Alchemist is supposed to be, I think Tomie definitely has a leg up. We can see it in the live action Uzumaki as well, where we are much more forgiving of some of the let's say goofier shots. It's hard to judge horror in that way. I mean, also because horror is my preferred genre to begin with. I'm biased here.
I will say, in Tomie Unlimited's credits, I did like that it kind of went for kind of the introspective ending, where the final shot in the movie is the main character coming to terms with the fact that Tomie is just part of her reality now and kind of submitting to existing in that reality. And so she lets herself be consumed almost in a gentle, like, sisterly way by Tomie. And then the final shot is, Tomie walking through the streets of Tokyo and looking on all of these different situations that are like dumb men kind of, for lack of a better term, simping over women.
Right. Prey.
And Tomie is the woman in every one of these scenarios.
Right. Which you could interpret in a lot of different ways. I actually think that's sort of like rich for interpretation.
I know. That's what
cool
really
shot.
threw me. It kind of had like an art house slant right at the very end.
Yeah. I
it's
I
like
90%,
95% trauma, 5% A24.
Oh yeah, a balance that's slightly off, but you know what? It's you could balance those elements to create something unique and interesting.
Yeah.
How many bad wigs out of 10?
You know what? I can't actually think of any bad wigs other than the ones attached to the wet puppets.
How about the metaphorical bad wigs out of 10?
Metaphorical bad wigs. I'm gonna give it a 7.84 bad wigs out of 10.
Okay, I think that's pretty good. Why don't we take a break and cool down?
Yeah, let's take a break. I gotta get this out of my head. Dipped our toes a little bit into the live action stuff as we work our way up to the to the One Piece live action show. I know. It's my understanding that you may or may not have read some manga this last week.
Look, week to week, we can make the assumption. It's pretty safe to say that I may or may not have read some manga.
Okay, good to know.
This week, I can confirm I have read some manga. More than one.
Okay.
At the very least. Because, you know what? I hate to say this, but this Starfield hype feels kind of forced, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I have no inclination towards Starfield at all.
It's weird, right? It feels like very forced to me. The Starfield, which would, I think in other circumstances, especially if I was in my much younger days, I would immediately consume all my manga time, just feels, I don't know, there's something off about it.
Well, okay, here's my thing. It's like, Starfield is coming out in between the release of Baldur's Gate 3, which both of us absolutely loved.
Adored, yes.
And right before the big revamp update and DLC release for Cyberpunk, right?
Yes, which
I am primed for because I fucking loved Edge Runners, and I know you did too.
I loved Edge Runners. I mean, I've said it before, but I really think that's probably contender for like best show of like the last, I don't know, 5 years.
Absolutely.
It's in the conversation. I mean, it's in the conversation.
Listen, we've talked about it. We're big simps for Studio Trigger. Absolutely.
I can't deny it.
So, yeah, that's why I feel Starfield is kind of just fine. Like, it's a long-form space exploration, like, Bethesda-style, like, simulation game, right?
Yeah.
Skyrim in space is how they want people to think of it, even though it's really more like, I'm thinking of No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. Okay, yeah, sure.
It's kind of like a less cartoony, like twee version of No Man's Sky.
More RPG-y No Man's Sky.
Exactly. Which, sure, there's a niche for. I'm sure people are real excited about that. People love playing it, but it's just like not hitting me right now. Especially not in this release landscape.
The thing is, if you tell me it's Skyrim in space, I'm going like, you took away the dragons?
I mean, they've got to have space dragons.
Do you think
right?
there's space dragons? I don't think if there's space dragons, somebody tell me. But like, it feels like a big downgrade to me. I don't know.
It would be an absolute waste of money and time if it didn't have space dragons. So I don't imagine they would release a game without those.
Okay, somebody show me a screenshot of you dogfighting a space dragon, and I am way back in. Fuck manga. I will be playing games again, like, for sure. But until that moment, I am going to continue binging manga like I have been doing for the last week or so.
Okay, so you've listed out here some of the stuff that you've been reading. I'm gonna go and ask for your views on this, just based on title here.
Yes.
In the spirit of cutting down on letting you ramble for eternity.
Okay, you're gonna muzzle me?
I'm gonna muzzle you.
This is exactly this woke garbage censorship that Elon Musk has been trying to clear from the internet.
Here comes the left arm of the law.
Oh boy, okay, fine, I submit. You happy?
All right. Yes, I do. And I would actually really like you to tell me about Spider-Man Fake Red.
Oh man, you coming out right with the Marvel shit, huh?
Oh yeah. Well, okay, don't deny that Across the Spider-Verse wasn't like the most phenomenal film in the last year for you.
No, it's great. I really, obviously, we don't have to talk about it any more than we have, because I'm literally just going to repeat myself saying it's good again. Spider-Man Fake Red is a weird thing. It's about, I guess, what is the canonical Japanese Spider-Man. His name is Yu. Now is this a continuation of the 70s Japanese Spider-Man live-action show? I have no idea. This does take place within a Peter Parker continuity. I don't know if he existed in the live-action Spider-Man. Frankly,
because in that one he had a giant Spider-Man like mecha robot.
Did he?
It was cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it was a Sentai show.
Yeah, I tend to the only live action Spider-Man I really respect is the first two Sam Raimi Spider-Man and Italian Spider-Man. I don't really like exploring outside of those two realms.
That's fair enough. I'm gonna give a little wiggle room for the 90s Spider-Man cartoon show. I have a lot of fond memories of that one.
That's not live action, bro.
I know it's not live action. I know.
You got to learn how to tell the difference. So Spider-Man Fake Red is a very strange thing. It's very ambiguous from the first issue. It seems to be in Peter Parker, New York setting, right? It's ostensibly in the kind of Peter Parker continuity, but it follows a character, this Japanese kid named Yu, and he's really into rock climbing, right?
Mm-hmm. As you are.
He has a crush on the hot rock climber girl, this blonde chick. And he does some very classic like manga nervous protagonist shit with her, obviously. And one day he just finds a discarded Spider-Man suit, which I have to say at the beginning of the story I thought wasn't that big of a deal, because like if you read Spider-Man or watched any of the Spider-Man, he seems to just leave that shit all over the place.
Okay, wait. So he doesn't have superpowers, though.
Unless he gets them way later, no, he does not.
So he's just like a guy in a Spider-Man costume.
He finds the suit. He decides to put it on for fun. Now, this suit does have working web slingers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's in line with standard Spider-Man canon.
Yeah, it's pretty standard Spider-Man. He has the fake web stuff, not his body producing web stuff, which honestly I prefer, but whatever.
You like the biological webs from the Raimi stuff.
I love the Raimi biological webs. It's so gross and cool.
Because it's a metaphor for for dicks, right?
Sure. And what is being a Spider-Man other than just like jerking off?
Sure. I mean, all those pesky nighttime web emissions.
He does do it on accident a lot. So he finds the suit and he puts it on, and people assume he's like wandering around the town, right? Because he's soaking up the like, hey, everybody loves Spider-Man.
But again, on the ground, not climbing on walls.
No, he cannot climb walls, but he runs into the classic Spider-Man setup where a building is on fire and a kid is trapped in the building, right? And all these people suddenly start begging him to go into the building and save the kid. And he's like, oh shit, I'm gonna die. But I would rather die than be embarrassed. So I will climb this building.
Very Japanese attitude.
I'm going to climb this building and rescue this kid. And thank God he manages to do it without dying. And he learns his lesson. He decides he's not going to put that shit on again. Because he really comes very close to dying. And I didn't read too far into it, but I did get a little bit into it. And seems to be the big reveal, the setup for the story is that this is one of the continuities where Peter Parker is infected with the symbiote.
Okay.
And it's taking him over. He's going full.
He's becoming an asshole.
Black. He is becoming asshole Spider-Man. Coincidentally, the setup for the new game, I guess, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. I think that in the new game, I think the way they're going is Harry Osborn has some kind of connection to the symbiote because he had health problems in that first game, from what I remember.
I barely remember the story.
They're doing a new mix-up take on the symbiote origin.
No, that's fine. Whatever. I like Venom. I'm cool with that. So that kind of launches us into a traditional Spider-Man story where he has to kind of become the hero in lieu of Peter Parker, who has flipped sides.
Mm-hmm.
And it is drawn in a very like Western comic style, which is interesting. It's interesting to see somebody kind of covering the cape shit aesthetic from a manga perspective. I think that right. is interesting about it, and it is full color.
Well, that's kind of become like kind of a recent thing, I feel, in a lot of manga spaces. In the shonen discussion, right? Is this encroaching American comic influence?
Yes, cape shit is coming into the mainstream. We talked about Shy last time.
Yeah, I mean, the two big examples obviously are One Punch Man and My Hero Academia, both very direct references to Western style superhero comics.
Yeah, and we talked about those in reference to Shy.
Yeah.
So yeah, and this is a strange thing. It's a strange thing. That's why I decided to read it. I didn't get too far into it because honestly, I love Spider-Man, but like I've been there, and I wanted to really get into some new stuff. So I left it there.
All right, second pick from your list here.
All right, hit me.
Tell me about. I'm interested in Shuukaku no Juunigatsu. Because you wrote God Shrine Maiden two timing, and I'm specifically interested in the like meta use of the phrase two timing in manga these days.
Yeah,
because we both just came off of the 100 girlfriends, girlfriend type thing, where they specifically refer to any kind of like a poly additional arranged relationship
cheating
as cheating. Well, no, it's not cheating though in several cases, but they still refer to it as two timing or three timing or four timing.
Yes, I understand, but that is the implication of two timing. As
yes,
we can blame the translators if we want, but two timing is cheating.
Yes. Well, I'm wondering if that is like a direct, literal translation of the Japanese phrase.
It would be hilarious if it was.
Yeah.
Somebody let me know.
But tell me what this one is about.
Shuukaku no Juunigatsu. Butchering that one. This is a weird one. It's a little bit older. This is about a guy who moves to a new town, and he really likes. Maybe this is another weird translation thing, but his whole deal at the beginning is that he wants to experience unreality.
God, I identify with that so much.
Yeah. I don't know. It's very strange. It's very ambiguous how you want to take that, but he likes things that aren't push the boundaries of reality, I suppose. You can interpret that in different ways. The way he interprets it is very strange. He's hiking around his new town. He's just moved there. He hasn't even gone to school yet. He's getting the lay of the land. He sees an old Shinto gate, as you do.
Mm-hmm.
He wanders up to it.
I'm just going to say I've been to Tokyo, and it is actually super easy to just wander onto a Shinto gate shrine.
Look, I'm taking your word for it. Anyway, this dude does, and this chick pops out, and she's got fox ears, as they do,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, hey, I'm the local god. You're my husband now. And he's like, okay, cool. That's dope.
As you do.
And then she tries to rape him, sort of.
Kind of. No.
But like in a funny way.
Please explain to me. Explain to me how she does that in a funny way.
It's played as a joke, and he doesn't take it that seriously, obviously. But he does not concede. We learned that a little bit later.
He neither consents nor concedes.
Yes, neither one. And this is a big theme for him. He cannot make up his mind. Oh, that is. Look, it's manga, okay. Anyway, he goes to his first day of school, and the school princess, a shrine maiden who's very uptight. She comes from a rich family. She carries around a big sword or something. Everybody's very wary of her, and she wanders up to him after class, and she says, I'm in love with you, marry me. And he's like, who are you?
Literally who?
And yeah, literally, who are you? I just came here. But he goes like, okay, yeah, let's date. Hey, is it?
I want to say I would be above it, but if a beautiful girl just straight up proposed to me when I was like 16, I can't say for sure that I would have said no.
You know what? To his credit, a little bit later on, because I'll give him credit. He's a little shell shocked from this experience, which I can't really blame him, right?
No, that's a weird position to be in.
This is a very eventful 2 days in this guy's life, and frankly, like when he goes to school later, he's not sure if the God thing even happened, which again I can't really blame him for. That seems pretty weird.
I would instantly doubt myself.
Yeah, but he comes to realize, almost like right after school, he comes to realize, no, it definitely did happen. She shows up, she's riding her wolf around. She's like, hey, you didn't forget about me, right? And he's like, oh, shit. And the other girl's like, I can't believe that there's a local god, and she's manifesting herself, and that she also declared you her husband. That's very weird, but I cannot deny the feelings I have for you. So what are you going to do? Are you going to two-time us? Are you going to two-time the richest girl in school and also the local god? And he's like, yes. Yes, I am. Yes, I will be doing that.
And they're like, okay, yeah, all right. Sounds like we got a premise.
No, they're both like, well, you got to decide, buddy.
He called their bluff.
Yeah, he did. He really did. And they're not happy about it. Well, I got to be clear. This isn't like a two girlfriends thing, girlfriend thing. They are not happy about this.
Oh, okay. All right.
but neither of them give up.
But they still do it.
They still kind of go along with it. I mean, they're aggressive about it. And like, he has a friend. He makes a friend first day, this dude. And this dude is not like your traditional anime best friend at school. Like he seems actually kind of chill. And he kind of he talks our main man through it. He's like, "What are you gonna do here? Because like this is a really fucked up situation, and you do have to decide at some point." And our main man goes, "You know what? No, I don't. Balance in all things." And his friend is like,
he's role playing true neutral.
Yeah, and his friend turns to him like, "What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. You're just chickening out." And he's like, "No. It's my it's my life's philosophy. Balance in all things." And these two chicks are like they're balancing each other out. Isn't that that makes sense, right?
I do like that because I feel like I like the take that Zen philosophy is just kind of a way to self-explain away responsibility for yourself.
Kind of. It is. I mean, this is not a great manga. I'm not pitching it in the effort to make you read it. The one element I do like is his friend's like, do you like these girls? And he's like, no, not really. Which is so...
God, that is nihilistic.
It's so brutal. It's very brutal. Yeah. So it's a weird
You know what that reminds me of? That scene in It's Always Sunny where the episode where Mac and Dennis break up and Dennis says to Dee like, "Hey, Charlie's coming over." And she's like, "I don't care." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't care either."
Yes, it really is like that. It really is like that. Yeah. So that's a weird one. I didn't read too much of it, so I'm not sure if he ends up liking them or not.
Okay, well, we're running up into our time limit here. I'm going to ask you for one more off this list, and I would like you to... actually, I've been looking forward to this. Please tell me about the hit sequel to the famous children's story, Goodnight Moon. I didn't realize that it was going to be in manga format, but what is Goodnight World?
Oh boy, here we go. Okay. You ever play online games?
I may or may not have played some games on the internet in the past. Why do you ask?
Yeah, when you see those banner ads that are like, sexy girls are waiting to play with you, you always click through. I know you.
Oh, well, I mean, I've met several sexy girls doing that.
Yeah. And when I respond to those Instagram posts that are like, click here for $5,000, I've always gotten it. This is a very strange thing. You are set up at the beginning of the story to believe that this is going to be a Sword Art Online situation. It's an online game.
Already off to a bad start.
Yeah, our main character is neat. He spends all his time in the game. He basically kind of wants to live there because, and now this is an interesting wrinkle that leads to more interesting wrinkles. He's developed like a surrogate family inside the game. He has like a cool older brother and like loving parents who are just players that he has sort of formed a faux guild with. They're known in the game as a notoriously powerful family. They literally call them a family. Because they live off on their own. They have like their own little digital house, and they all live together there.
Okay, yeah.
In the real world, our main character has a little brother who is like 3 feet taller than him, and is kind of pretty much ignores him. He has a piece of shit dad who is like completely crumbled under the pressure of like losing his job. His mom basically never comes home anymore. He doesn't really even know what she's up to. He sees her maybe like once a month. So his life it's not great. It's not going good.
So he's your average MMO player.
They spent a lot of time dragging him for that. But check this shit out.
Okay. All right, hit me.
Check this shit out. You know how you never really know the person on the other side of the keyboard?
Uh-huh.
Well, what if...
I mean, no, I don't know that.
No, you don't know that. You're not familiar with this concept. Yeah, you don't spend enough time online, clearly. What if the other people on the other side of the keyboard were your piece of shit family members?
Whoa!
Holy shit, dude. Holy shit.
Oh, man. Talk about egg on your face.
And you don't even know. You're all off having this fun, cool family dynamic, this thing that you've built together in this virtual world that means everything to you. And it is the very people who have driven you to neatdom. Wow. That is a lot to take.
All right. Being serious for a second, I can see the kernel of a good idea there. Right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, obviously these are characters who for whatever reason, can only truly express their feelings towards each other as a family through the filter of being a game, like in the game, right?
Yes. They have to
They can only love each other as a family when they're pretending to not be themselves.
Yes, exactly. Which is a very interesting premise. It's what drew me in to begin with. I think it's really cool. And there is a lot of, I will say, emotional maturity to the way it deals with some of those themes, which I, again, very much appreciate. I think someone on the back end of this thing is actually cares about telling an interesting story. Now, for the interest of full disclosure, this goes very off the rails. We're talking like world-ending computer viruses. We're talking about digitizing people's brains. We're talking about AI that are so advanced they don't know they're AI. We're all over the place. Just so you know. But there is a core here that is interesting. It's interesting and cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, the first thing that comes to my mind. I wonder how it compares to something like Summer Wars. Have you seen that?
Yes, of course I've seen Summer Wars. What a classic. Okay. I've even seen it with an audience.
Well, all right. I think that kind of touches on some of the same themes, right? So it's a family story about a family that is supposed to be incredibly close-knit to each other, and for whatever reason, several of them are outsiders to the family. The main examples being the villain character, who is like the black sheep cousin who went off and developed this world-ending computer AI virus for the evil American CIA.
Oh, by the way, the evil computer virus in this manga also developed for the CIA.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah. And then you have, in Summer Wars, you have the little kid character who's kind of like the introvert, shy one, but online they're kind of like this famous like e-gaming celebrity.
Yes.
And then you have the literal outsider to the family, who's our audience character, who, this girl has invited him to pretend to be her boyfriend because she thinks that her grandma's dying.
Oh,
right?
Brutal.
Classic 80s boner comedy.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I'm wondering how it compares to the themes of that movie, where it is about this family coming together in spite of this separation of digital world to real world, where there's like a generational gap in how they communicate with each other.
Yes. There definitely is a lot of overlap in these themes. They spend a lot of time, and here's what I like. It's not just a condemnation of like people who want to live through the medium of a video game. There's a lot of time spent discussing like why people would want to do that, and the things that people can get out of spending a lot of time socializing in a video game, which I appreciate. I like when people are able to articulate nuance when they're making very grand statements like online games are bad. Like, I'm not even necessarily opposed to a statement like that. A lot of online games are bad.
That's like an objectively true statement.
It's not.
That's not. There's no nuance to that one. Online games are objectively bad.
I certainly wouldn't say they are objectively good. I couldn't bring myself to say that. But yes, there is a lot of overlap, and there is a lot of overlap with people having a difficult time expressing themselves in real life, where through a medium like that, they are able to be more honest with themselves and others, I guess I could say, without spoiling too much.
So where does it go wrong?
I would say when this tries to tackle big concepts, not in the capital C way, in the we have suddenly escalated the stakes to world-ending fantasy bullshit. And most of the time when that happens, and it happens very frequently with the manga I read anyway, it tries to maintain enough. It tries to keep one foot on the ground just enough to maintain those original themes and still keep contact with those things, so it can have something to say about people on an emotional level, whereas the rest of itself is sort of drifting off into, anime bullshit.
Sure.
As we say many, many times on this show.
The dreaded anime death spiral.
Yeah, the dreaded anime death spiral. Losing control completely and surrendering yourself to the anime bullshit.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. It's not good in that way that I'd be like, you need to run out and read this. But I'm very sympathetic to it. Does that make sense?
I get you. I get the way you're approaching this. Now, you said that this is isekai gone very, very wrong. Is it is it an isekai? Are they trapped in the game world at any point?
It is difficult to explain that. Not just from a spoiler perspective, but from a literally the mechanics of how this works perspective.
I don't have the tautological techniques to really explain this in depth to you.
It's like I think I said earlier, like, do you want to get through an introduction to phenomenology? I will say this attempts something that I have never seen an isekai do before, in that it tries to supersede the entire real world with a fake world, which is fascinating in its own right, and not even conceptually what's actually happening. That is my attempt at being concise at something that does occur later. But it is not even that. That is not even true to what is happening. I really cannot explain in a literal way what is happening in this manga.
All right.
So maybe you like that. I don't know.
I mean, I can't say that it's not intriguing.
Yeah.
But, I've got so much of this live action stuff that you've put on my plate that I need to get through before I can even look at the printed page again.
And you've got to get back into Fate. You got to finish up that stuff.
I do. I need to get back into Fate as well.
Yeah, or I will punish you.
It just keeps piling up.
There's a lot of it. But, hey, and there's more to come, baby.
All right.
Just to finish it out, I will be interjecting here because star, spelled with a star instead of an A, by the way.
Oh, shit. Are you dropping a secret fourth recommendation on me?
I am, and this one's personally for you. I couldn't in good conscience roll away from this without giving you this gift. Star with a star for an A, strike it rich, is about buff MMA girls.
Sold.
Yeah.
Say no more.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. And you know what? This is a good one. This is a good one.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's cool as hell. It's fucking weird, and it goes a little too far with some weird shit, but it's cool. It's cool and good.
All right, give me the soundbite.
The most dangerous high school girl in the world.
All right, hell yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Hell.
Okay, that one's going on the list.
Yeah, I mean the comparison I did make earlier was it is gender swap Baki, but that doesn't even really do it justice. It is its own distinct thing, and it's cool.
All right, that's just the way you describe it, it makes me think of that girls MMA manga I read a while ago.
That's why I wanted to get it in there, because it's a lot like that, except both goofier and more brutal.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got some teeth smashing. Someone get their bell clocked.
People get fucked up. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go read this right now then.
Yeah.
Don't knock for the next 30 minutes.
I know you'll like this one.
Okay. All right. I'll read this. I'll come back and let you know what I thought of it next time.
All right. Let's wrap up Anime Death Spiral so that you can immediately get to your private space and be alone.
I just need some alone time, please.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about some more live action stuff going forward. I really want to dive in here and get this shit under our belt. And then we'll get to the One Piece stuff, because we have a great angle on the One Piece shit. So you're gonna wanna tune in for that, because it's gonna be.
Well, you better get in there, man, because I got 2 episodes on you at this point.
I know. You slow down. Just slow down. I'm gonna get there. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, handsome and beautiful listeners, go watch some live action anime.
Yeah.
It'll do your brain some good.
I can't say that it'll kill you, so you might as well do it.
It won't kill you. It'll only make you stronger. Or as the anime Joker would say, it'll only make you weirder. Did he say that? Who cares?
I don't know.
We'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
In the middle of you talking, I will just fade you out. Just until I start talking.
You know what? I don't listen to the show, so I don't care.
Yeah, you wouldn't even know.